to both proprietary business models, desktop-based proprietary business models, and to free software projects, because it's a different type of competition.
I think Romanian open source community is still in its infancy, so I think they should really look at what it should unite them and get together and be more active on the lobbying market. So not only in developing their own applications or seeing exactly what they're interested in, I don't know, Ubuntu, PHP or whatever, but actually getting together and making a stance from one single point. I think the hottest trend is Google, but if we are talking about open source, I don't know, Google presentation didn't convince me that much on their activities on open source. If we're talking about open source, I think what is really interesting, at least for me, is the Web 2.0 application and the open source activities, or open source software.
I think that this conference too is not the largest one, as I've read. There are other ones that are larger, for example, and so I can't really evaluate the community. Second, or third, it's no one conference can pull together all the people who are involved one way or another in free and open source development as well as consumption. Any one conference can only pull in those people who happen to be attracted to that particular conference and to the events being discussed here. So I can't really say. What I can say though is that given the presence of government ministers and given the presence of people from multinational corporations such as myself and IBM and Microsoft, representatives coming to this conference from outside of Romania, that we all see Romania as being pivotal, extraordinarily important to the development of free and open source software in Eastern Europe. And so free software is crucial here because it costs less, because it's flexible, and because it engages the world without sacrificing any of the identity of Romania. For example, as was mentioned in one of the speeches today, in places such as Slovenia and Serbia, former Yugoslavia, is oddly advanced, and in the case of Slovenia, it's a very small country, and so it really depends to a great extent on how aggressively the government is pursuing it, pushing it. So there, for example, free software is probably overwhelming proprietary. In Romania, which is still pretty much dominated by proprietary software, in particular Microsoft software, it might take a little bit longer simply because businesses have to make decisions, and those decisions take a long time to make. But inevitably, in places like Romania and elsewhere in the world, people recognize that it is too costly, both in every measure of resource, human, capital, mechanical, to make complex software, and virtually all software going forward is going to be very complex, out of just one business. The whole point of free software isn't to make a political statement. It's to make it easier and cheaper for people to create complex bits of software. The alternative, the Microsoft alternative, is to hire everyone. But that doesn't really work. It can't. And the better alternative is to collaborate and to erase the boundaries that corporate walls have made between businesses. So I would say the percentage is it's never going to be that there's only free software. It will be the case, and very soon, astronomically, incredibly quickly, that free software is essentially the software for fundamental operations. For example, right now on the web, the majority of all web servers are free software. The hottest trend right now, and it's basically one having to do with markets, because everyone sees a possibility of making money out of this, is mobile computing. And by mobile computing, a lot of people think of American businessmen sitting in airports using their thumbs on a BlackBerry or a Nokia. It doesn't really matter. It's the same concept. It's just stupid. If you've ever tried typing, you don't use your thumbs when you type. You use all your fingers. And those of us who use all our fingers generally do a very bad job of it, but we nevertheless use all our fingers. And using our thumbs is even worse. So the idea of mobile computing is something I think that has been advanced a little bit by Intel with its mobile internet device. And that's a real advance because it's larger. They have a couple of prototypes out that are about 10 centimeters by 6 centimeters maybe. And they have terrible UI from my perspective right now. I think the UI of the iPhone is brilliant and should be developed further. But nevertheless, it's lightweight. It allows you to do a lot of things. For example, read a book, to compose things on a tiny keyboard, a little bit smaller than the EPC, which is also brilliant. But it's essentially satisfying a necessity or demand, which is to say, not just mobility, because everyone does want to be carrying around a computer and not anchored to a desktop. And now that we have the internet, there's no need for desktops because you can grab whatever application you want. But it also satisfies an ecological need because a desktop, a powerful desktop, is essentially more powerful than a supercomputer 20 years ago and uses just as much power. It uses, say, the Apple Macintosh power, whatever it is, uses something like 300 watts. And that's a lot of power. And it doesn't use it all at once, but on a consistent, regular basis. Think of all the millions and millions of PCs out there using power. So we know about global climate change. It's happening. The world is getting hotter, more turbulent, more chaotic. And we know about power consumption, how expensive it is, and the fact that Romania doesn't have very much. We know that oil is now $135 a barrel. And guess what? It's going to get more expensive. People are forecasting $150 a barrel, $200 a barrel by the end of this year. This is obvious. People have been prognosticating this for decades. It's not so much that people are stupid and are ignoring or in serious denial. It's that the whole point of capitalism is you make as much money as possible until they kick you out of the casino.